Yeah. Retro. Let's talk that talk real quick. They go like this. One time for myself for the way I've been playing my cards, too intuitive. So I know when I see a facade. 3 decades in life, 3 years ago, I could see I was scarred. Forgiving my parents, they were kids. With a kid, it was hard. 5 years from now, I won't punch another clock again. 6 o'clock, my hands straight. But I ain't trying to box again. 7 been my number since Twin Lakes in 7th grade. 8 going my 9. I just hope a nigga never play. Cause 10 out of 10 times, I would rather you than me. 11 rolling on a die, but that ain't nothing new to me. 12 is when I first started hustling for profit. I flipped my allowance, paid my mama out of pocket. She respected the grind, been supportive, never stopped it. Sean bootleg CDs and DVDs, he never knocked it. Spring 13 was the year my grandma died. I was facing adversity, dropped line, cause in my mind it just wasn't gonna work for me. 2014, I moved for the Art Institute in Dallas. Rick had me at Media Tech, going hard like a callus. Cause age 15, I had already been writing 16s for a couple years, so to me it wasn't a big thing. Small city, big dreams, 17 years writing verses, that's why my shit's mean. Keep the boat afloat, I will never let my ship sink. A long way from 18 years old and saying, bitch please. 19 keys, been dropping gems and boy I'm paying attention. Ran up 20 bands and lost it cause the engine was tripping. Talking about my trucking company, that shit was horrific. Said fuck it and took my shot, I'ma make it or miss it. Speaking of shots, I blew my shot and learned a valuable lesson with shit. I would've never had to ask them 21 questions. In 22, 23, 24, watch the progression. Made it past 25 alive, that shit is a blessing. 26 is on the color net, I can see it coming. 27 days into December, came out mama's stomach. At 28, I dropped till further notice, just go and listen. I was on the mission, I was focused. 29, I learned to let life do its thing, don't worry. 30 niggas couldn't fuck with me from a long shot. Curry 29, I learned to let life do its thing, don't worry. 30 niggas couldn't fuck with me from a long shot.
At 15, I hit a new school. I was out of shape, felt like I was out of place. I love a dope without a rank. I'm from the north side of Boja, I had to adapt to the culture. I put a chill on these words, I've been creating sculptures. I was blindsided, really couldn't see what I was coming to. I made friends with niggas who could also see my point of view. Had my first convo with Bobby, I used to tell him I could hoot. He was like, nah, I'm like, nigga, that's watching me. At 16, wrote my first 16, feel like they was hot then. One-on-ones for Vino, all the love, cause we was locked in. Came to school, niggas laugh, heard me on forever, I mean. Maybe it was trash, I mean, maybe it was clever. At 17, I had hoop dreams, I'm crazy, right? Lost connection with some old friends, but we made it, right? Life after school was a challenge, cause I really went through obstacles a nigga couldn't balance. Not to mention, I was dealing with depression in my mid-20s. Forgave all my skeletons, but look at what they did to me, I'm 30 now. Still writing rhymes, cause my story ain't finalized. It's crazy cause I'm working with a nigga I idolized.
Yo, what up? Welcome to Optomixtic Talk Radio. This is D. Will. I'd like to welcome y'all back, with a new classic. You already know that was Trelow and Burgy, straight out of Bossier. You know what I'm saying? We'd like to welcome y'all back. We have been gone for a week or a couple of weeks. But like I said, I'd like to welcome the crew back. But before I welcome the crew, before they start chopping it up with y'all, I'd like to welcome to the show our guest host. Y'all know her. She goes by Aviance Smith from Verbal Elixir. They have a show on the Social Ghost Network. What's going on, Ivy? What's the deal? Introduce yourself, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Aviance with Verbal Elixir, and I'm excited to be here tonight. That's it.
Just short and sweet.
Yeah, short and sweet.
I got to make a shout out to my girl, Mo. You know what I'm saying? Mo, handling some business, so she won't be with us today. You know what I'm saying? Can we give her a moment of silence?
Really?
What? Hey, I'm like,
I want to give my girl a moment of silence, man.
Why are we giving a moment of silence?
Silence.
That don't even go right. Man. That's what we do for the homies. You know what I'm saying?
That's why. OMG. Makes no sense.
Hey, Mo, I know you're listening out there, Mo. You see they didn't want to give you the moment of silence, but you see D. Will, D.
Girl, feel better. We look forward to hearing you next week, girl. Keep making it all dramatic.
I'm trying to say like we at a funeral or something. Man, what's going on?
We got some haters on the crew today. Oh my God.
Jeez, please.
But look, all right, y'all. So what's been going on in the world? You know what I'm saying? We always try to chop it up and talk about something before we get into why we got everybody here today. What's on y'all mind? What's on your body today?
Well, skin here for one.
What is it?
You know.
What you say, Kim?
I mean, he said it was on our mind. I said our skin is for one. I mean, you know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the world just the world. You know, I don't pay attention to it, but maybe y'all do.
I don't try to indulge in the world too much because it's gonna depress you if you get too deep in it. So I don't really just I hear about it, but I ain't listening. If that makes sense.
That's been me my whole life. So
Oh my God. And we have a whole radio show here, so y'all know we gotta know what's going on in the world. We gotta know what's going on in the world, y'all. We gotta know something. You know, there's another war that we're gonna be involved in. I was talking to Avi offline prior to the show, I think it's Jerusalem or Israel. I know it's about to be a big war. And we was just kind of talking about that a
That's
little
been going
bit.
on for years, man. There ain't nothing new, man. That's been going on for years. Since the dawn of time, almost.
Well, I'm personally not going to no wars, so I'm probably be pregnant somewhere if I had to go. So I don't think we're gonna go. I think we got other fish to fry within this country. But as long as we have, and see, I'm not really big on politics, but as long as we have our current commander in chief in office, I don't think we're gonna go to war.
It's not about the war; it's about the money you give away.
That too, but I don't think we're gonna go.
And you get almost $70 million, and and then you got Congress don't want to get rid of the student loans. That tell me a lot right there.
Speaking of students and student loans, look, that done brought us up to our first topic of the day. But y'all already know we're going to bring it up on the screen so y'all can see it. But the first question we're going to kind of indulge in. And both are pertaining to schools today. I guess we're going to get into it since we're talking about the war. The first question of the day. Should teachers be allowed to carry guns to work each day? Now, before y'all answer that question, you already know we got to get y'all to tap in with this video to show, what we're going to be talking about. So, hey, y'all, check this out. You are tuned in to Optimistic Talk Radio.
Last month at Sandy Hook Elementary School, a much-needed nationwide conversation has transpired about what to do about the frequency of mass murder in the United States. Hey everyone, I'm Lacey Green, and this is D News. Even though on the whole crime in the U.S. is falling, since 2006 there have been 25 mass shootings that killed 4 or more people. 7 of those shootings happened in 2012. The numbers are disturbing, to say the least, and everybody's asking, or rather arguing, about what to do about it. The National Rifle Association's top lobbyist, Wayne LaPierre, stated that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. He said he believes America's gun problem can be attributed to the glorification of gun violence and violent video games and movies, and that the answer is to distribute more guns to the good guys, including teachers. The American Federation of Teachers and the National Education Association, the largest teachers groups, called the proposal astounding and disturbing. But what does scientific research have to say on the matter? Since Columbine, one of the worst shootouts in U.S. history, a number of studies have been published examining the issue of violence in schools. Research published in the Journal of Police Crisis Negotiations looked at various approaches to school security. They found that the placement of school resource officers to help deal with bullying, racial tensions, disrespect, and gangs lowered violence and gang problems on high school campuses. When armed security was put on campus, schools experienced an overall increase in violent crime. Such was the case with Columbine itself, which had armed guards on campus when the shootout happened. There are outliers in the research though. The Pearl High School shootout in 1997 was curbed by an assistant principal with a pistol in his truck, and Michael Queen, an administrator in West Virginia, says that he's seen crime drop on his campus since implementing an armed police officer. The officer conducts anti-gang and anti-drug workshops, and Queen says that he would like to see more armed officers in schools. He thinks that arming teachers, however, would be a mistake. Still, in Utah, teachers are lining up to take firearms training. A South Carolina legislator legislator introduced a bill to allow teachers to take guns to school. Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell says he's open to armed guards in his state's schools. Those who are opposed to arming teachers and guards argue that more guns is not the answer. According to a report by the National Research Council and the Institute of Medicine, the U.S. is the most heavily armed society in the world at 89 guns per 100 civilians. At the same time, we have the highest rate of violent death in the world. Another study published 10 years ago found that a gun in the home is 22 times more likely to be used in a suicide attempt, criminal assault, or unintentional shooting than in self-defense. Law enforcement officials warn that having more guns on campus, especially in the hands of teachers, could lead to even more violence. Gun control advocates argue instead for background checks, waiting periods, and tracking of firearms. In response to the NRA, the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence stated, arming teachers is not a preventative strategy. It's a reactive strategy. Once you have a homicidal maniac who's stockpiled weapons legally, you've failed from a public policy perspective. Personally, the thought that we have reached a place where we're actually considering arming teachers in public schools deeply disturbs me. It conjures images of America, land of the free, looking like a prison on lockdown with metal detectors, surveillance cameras, armed police and guards in classrooms, movie theaters, and churches. If we're building our everyday lives around a persistent threat of violence and murder, can we really call ourselves free? And yet, solutions that will help everybody stay safe are far from simple. I think the debate warrants more research to get clearer answers about how we can actually resolve, instead of endlessly fight about, this national.
All right. All right, y'all. So we want to kick this conversation off. Should teachers be allowed to carry guns to work each day?
It's obvious. I say yes and no. I think there needs to be very strict stipulations. I do think that there should be a train. When I say trained, I mean they're trained the mental aspects of the mechanics of a weapon, how to shoot it, how to retain your weapon, because you might have to fight somebody and you might have to protect yourself and try to keep your weapon on yourself also. I just think it really just depends. And I know this might sound like outlandish, but I think if you have certain teachers within an underserved community, the teachers need to look like those students to have those guns. But that's just me.
What do you mean by that? Elaborate on that.
So when I say that, so teachers who are, if you are a teacher in the underserved community, a lot of times there is a mixture that I know of. There's a mixture, and I think that those teachers should be black. If you got a predominantly black school, it should be a black teacher, the one who should be carrying that weapon, trained to de-escalate everything. It's just my personal opinion. Unfortunately, not a unmelanated teacher, because I think it
Why
would
do you
cause
feel
a.
that way?
I
Do you
feel like
also do you also think that only black teachers should teach black children
I wouldn't say only that. I can say that in my line of
in
work
those
that I have
neighborhoods?
done, and in my teachings and my schoolings, I can say that I've learned more from people who look like me. I have gotten grace. I have gotten mercy. I've gotten a clear understanding for those who look like me. What do you think? Do you think the opposite?
I think that it's important for students in those type underserved neighborhoods to see all types of people, because all they do get to see is what's in their neighborhood, and unfortunately that is black and brown people, right? So I think that they need to be exposed to other races, other ethnicities of people. Now, as far as like carrying guns, I'm in education. I've taught, well, I used to teach. I taught for like 10 years, but I'm still in education and I'm on a campus, right? An
Hmm.
elementary campus at that. And it's a underserved neighborhood. To be honest with you guys, my first year at this particular school I'm talking about, um, it was so many like shootings in the apartments across the street. It was ridiculous. Like we would be at dismissal time, and then all of a sudden, there's gunshots going off. So we running back in, and my campus is, the campus was like it's like an outside campus. There is no
Right.
enclosure. Like as soon as you walk in, you still see outside. The sky is there because it's like a open concept.
And I
But
get what you're saying. Just from my personal experience in dealing with the mental health aspect of it, I had a child in my care who was so traumatized by other races, especially in the foster care system. They could not see a therapist that did not look like them. They cannot see a doctor that did not look like them. They cannot even see a teacher that did not look like them. So I think it just really just depends. That's just what I have seen in my particular line of work too. As a teacher, I'm not in the education system. I'm more so in the mental health, and
mhm.
that's just what I've seen. I've seen the really traumatic side of these kids who have this fear of people who do not look like them.
And
And
where
it's
does that fear
unfortunate.
stem from?
Um, I don't necessarily
We're talking about
say where it necessarily stems from. I think a lot of times it is what they have dealt with. They have been dipped into the foster care system. They have dealt with these doctors. They've dealt with these counselors, these therapists, teachers who have mistreated them. And so they have this preconceived notion that they're going to always be mistreated by that particular person, those type of people. I wish I could bring on one of the kids that I had, because I was her guardian for years, and when I first got her, that was exactly what they told me, and I couldn't understand why. I was like, "What do you mean? I can only I can only get people who look like her to service her? That makes no sense." I couldn't grasp that until I actually got her, and I realized, oh my God, I understand why now. She is traumatized.
Mhm.
So it takes a lot of healing, a lot of healing in that particular case. We have to heal our community first and foremost for them to even want to be welcoming to people who do not look like them. Takes a lot of healing for our community to get past
well, let me say this at first.
that.
First of all, let me say this here. I hate to be that guy, but I gotta be that guy.
Be that guy.
Number one, we have to look at school shootings and when they occur. Most school shootings, and as far as the mass incarceration of these shootings, it ain't many black high schools that doing this. And let me just say now, we may shoot outside the school. We come across the streets
We're
here.
definitely shooting
You know,
outside the school.
but for us in the school, we don't seem to have that problem now.
Right.
Another thing we have to look at it for us.
Can you elaborate, sir, on we for the people that are listening and watching? Can you elaborate on that, sir?
I believe Sugar Pie over there said black and brown. I'm not
Okay.
being that
Black
guy.
and brown.
Yeah, that's what a Sugar Pie said.
Well, you're definitely that guy. Everybody knows that.
But I'm not trying to point the finger at them. But then it's a lot to go into this here, because a lot of times during these mass shootings, Columbine, Sandy Hooks, and all these other variations, college campuses also have been appeared to do that. I remember North Carolina A&T, a particular individual, a Caucasian gentleman, is waiting outside to actually go shoot up the campus of black folks. It got shut down, but you don't know, honestly, a person that's outside of the campus as far as the aspect, what are they applied and what their mindset is, and all these things, because a lot of these shootings, no one was prepared for them. Arming a teacher, I get it. Maybe they can disarm the shooter. I can understand that, but at the same time, I mean, it's you have to also look at this here. Just because a person got a gun and they shooting, don't mean they gonna hit their target. A teacher
Hmm.
can walk out, grab some student, they hit them. That's another dead body. And that's another case. I mean, it's an everlasting question to the point where we have to just be honest with ourselves on some levels. I get it, you want to protect the students. I get it, you want to protect the teachers. But you put an armed police officer on campus. You have more than just one in certain areas that are, that areas of problem when a bunch of kids are located. I believe Sugar Pie said like they was across the street, had to bring the students back in. We have to be honest with ourselves. Them people got more, I hate to say it like that, but it seems to me that that's more triggered. Us coming from predominantly hoods, they wait till you get out of school to come get you. That's just
Hmm.
how they do. They waiting for you to walk out and you know, I get it. You want to protect, but at the same time, is your protection can cause more harm than good. Somebody can run across you shooting. Somebody can run across just out the blue.
Yeah,
Okay,
I don't
so
think teachers should be armed at all.
I'm
I
with
think really and
y'all.
truly we need like metal detectors at all schools. And I'm not
Now
trying to
that
make it
I
seem like a
agree.
prison or anything, but we're trying to be protective. We do it at the airports. Let's do it at schools. Put some metal detectors at the entryway.
Now I
Well,
agree, and me personally, I went to school up north, high school, and we had metal detectors. So coming here down south and seeing how like going into these schools and see how open that they are, and there is not
Very
no
open.
metal. Yeah, it's no metal detectors. I was kind of like, well, hold on now, like y'all running free around this thing. We had metal detectors, and I was one of those who brought a something to school, a blade. I was a
What,
little,
girl?
I was a little risque when I was young. Okay, I was a little risque, but I can't say I can't. The metal detector didn't catch it that day, but that's neither here nor there. And I do think that it is very important to have these metal detectors because I was ready to give me one. And it is it's very important to have those. I think the school district here where we at should have implement those. I think they can find funding for everything else. They can find the funding for the metal detectors.
well, I hate to be, I'm not that guy, but I'm this guy. I believe that I believe that teachers should be allowed to carry guns. Now that my thought process every day that I go to work, I know that my life is on the line. If I'm gonna go out,
Hmm.
I at least want to have the ability to protect myself. Now, I don't know if this politically correct, but I know we are an opinionated panel here. But I believe that if I'm gonna go, I want to go out on my terms. So
but
I
True.
do agree with Ivy said. Like I want to be trained, trained properly. I know the procedures, but if someone's threatening they come in that building, I'm like the kids. I mean, okay, y'all, let's get behind me. Let's hide under the desk, and I'm standing in the front. I'm already about to die. I don't want to die. I have kids. I want to
Right.
live too. But I believe that teachers should be allowed to carry guns. And like you said, they go through a full, just like the police department, fire department. You go through a psychiatric evaluation. You go through all the protocols before they can allow you to, be able to carry. I think that should be something that's enforced along with the metal detectors and everything else that y'all said. I think that the teacher
can I
should be
ask you a
able to
question,
carry as
sir?
well.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
I gotta be that guy. Let's say that you do bring a gun, right? Let's say you get in a dispute with a student, and the student knows that you carry a pistol, right?
Right.
In a dispute, your pistol's in your bag. It's not on you, right?
Well, that's going to be illegal
That's
right there. You
wrong.
fired.
Yeah.
So
You
Yeah,
get
you
what I'm
should
they're going to allow
immediately
you to
be
bring it.
fired.
I think
You're
Yeah.
going to have to
there's
have
probably
it
gonna be
secured and locked up
But
if
see,
you're going to
right.
do
I think I think it's gonna be
that's
provisions too.
another dispute that I have. It's because if you are allowed, you don't think some of these students, because y'all noticed lately, and as Sugar Pie, she's an administrator,
Okay,
these
who's
kids
Sugar
are
Pie,
fighting these
sir? Who
students,
is
man.
who is Sugar Pie?
Her name,
We got
Holly. It's Holly.
Holly and
She,
Sugar Pie.
yeah, she knows. That's what she knows.
Oh, okay, okay. Well,
But
just for the people, for y'all audience.
anyway, but you see, students are fighting teachers. You understand? And the students see that that you got that iron, as the young people say, or that pipe, as they call it. You don't think they gonna draw down their backpack and pull that pipe, as they like to call it, and shoot you, knowing that you got a pistol? Because the first thing they gonna think, well, he gonna go grab, because they have a mentality coming from where they come from. No matter if it is white or black, because they don't a bullet got no heart, a bullet got no color. That's why it's just more than just we looking at protection when something occurs. You have to also look at it every day, because this is a different generation of young kids. We
Hmm.
didn't fight like they were teachers. They gonna scrap. It gets deeper than just waiting on a mass shooting to happen. You have to think of other elements as well. I
And
know
see,
that.
I agree with you,
But
but I think
Q,
the
what if,
thing is, when you use that gun, that's the last possible.
Reason.
Yeah, that's the
But
last
what I'm
possible
saying,
option,
that
and
may
you're
be
not
your
really
last
shooting.
possible resort. But
are
you
you
have.
talking about the student bringing a gun to school, Q?
That's just what I'm saying. Like, this is my point. Like, let's say he got a gun, right?
The
And
student.
The teacher right now, right?
The teacher, okay.
Okay. Now remember, we don't have metal detectors. Y'all know where we from. We don't have metal. None of them, unless it's force necessary. And some of these kids do bring them. They do bring them. Now they may not pull it, but they do bring them. You get into a teacher getting into the dispute with a student because they're fighting teachers these days. I mean, it's a fight. You know what I'm saying? And a student knows that this particular teacher carries that pistol. They get into a dispute. They know their teacher may be thinking, if I had this, and they buy their bag or they somewhere near, and they angry and they upset about what the teacher and them had a scrap and they feel disrespected, and they gonna pull it.
Well, I
First
mean,
thing in their mind is the teacher had the gun, so I have to feel like I have to protect myself.
well, my experience based on like I say, we are divulging a lot of information on this podcast today. Now, I do substitute teach on the side, so the areas I went to, they do have metal detectors, but also if there is some type of physical altercation, we don't touch the students. So you actually you call for help. You can maybe use your cell phone or you can go hit the buzzer. So it gives you time, and that's why I said I believe with a teacher being equipped, they have to have extensive training, psychological tests, and once again, like I say, if you're going to use that gun, that's the last choice that you have. Like that has to be the last option. You
But
want to
it's not
see the
in
next day,
always
so
every school
it's
though.
fight or flight. You want to
Now,
get everybody to safety.
now,
That's not always in every campus.
now, now, I can say this as someone who is trained in several weapon systems. I've been in the military for years, and actually the military police. I mean, it's public information. I can personally say that it's just more than just carrying a weapon. If someone is going to fight you, you got to learn how to fight first because they might not want to, and you got to learn how to fight and also retain your weapon at the same time. I just think that it's a lot of mechanics that go into should just a teacher carry a weapon. They really have to be trained and it has to be specific teachers. I personally would not let a teacher who is 60 years old have a weapon because you're going to possibly what if a child just run up on you? You tell me you want to pull your weapon out and shoot an unarmed child because they're ready to fight you? No,
Right.
you're not. And if you do, you will be in the wrong because you can't. It's escalation of force. It's just so much that goes into it, and I
Exactly.
think it really takes a lot to make this happen. I think that it's something that could possibly happen if you have the right bill that is introduced with the right mechanics, the right everything, the information, the training. I think the teacher should be post certified also, in my personal opinion. Take the summer, do the training during the summertime while you're out of school, get paid a little incentives. I don't know, but I think it takes a lot of work to retain a weapon, to know how to use this weapon. What if your weapon it just takes a lot. And
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of feeling on the fence of it. I think they should, but I also don't think they should at the same time. I think they should or should. It's just so
That's
much for me.
It's going to require so much constant mental health checks
Right.
because
Right.
we're already stressed, right? Period. Just
Mhm.
with the day to day. Now, put on top of that, like appraising systems, you getting upset at your boss or your supervisor or whatever you want to call it, and you just had enough. Like people can snap at any moment. It's
Yes.
just it's just crazy. I would never vote for that. Just never. It just doesn't seem like safe. It's too close to children's access. Period.
Yeah. I see where y'all coming from. So we actually had, I think for the majority of the panel, agreed nay, but I guess like I said, I believe they should, but I understand you like I said the arguments are really good, and I think it's really good. We were having really good art. Everyone's articulating pretty good about this. So do we have any closing statements before we move on to our next topic of discussion?
Get rid of all the guns. Period. Just burn them all.
No, 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 no. Now I'm gonna say this. No, 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 no. I've had an incident where I've had to pull out a gun. I say no. I'm all
Just
for
get rid of
guns.
all
I'm all
guns.
for
Everybody's a gun. Let's go raid
uh,
houses and let's find all the guns and let's
What
shoot
you
them
saying?
no,
up.
no, no.
That seeking your fight.
What?
Can I
Can you
fight?
fight?
Saying you saying get rid of all the guns. You gonna can everybody fight? Because everybody can't.
Yeah, let's just fight. You don't have to fight it out.
You know,
I'm
so
too old to fight
We gotta
now.
figure it
You,
out.
I'm,
Get
I'm,
you
you
I'm
never
too old to fight.
you
a
never
boot set on a chair. Get a chair.
we got them hand now. That somebody may be a little bit quicker, but you know you gotta be smart in your fight.
Well, Q, we
Mm-hmm.
go find out. We go find out about these track stars. That's what you gonna see more than anything, because everybody gonna be running.
Well, I've been around a few track stars now. I've been in some situations where some track stars took off on me. On us, rather, a couple of my partners, but that's another story for another day.
But how tough are people who like use guns as their first defense? How tough are they really without that gun? Like
They
really?
not. That's why they
They're
use.
not. They're
Yeah.
not.
Right.
Yeah, they're
You have to
not.
really resort to a gun? Like my God, like really?
You have to understand something, and this ain't just about street politics. A lot of people, like male or female, they feel inferior when they got something as an advantage, which we all know. You know, they ain't gonna put because half of them can't fight. I'm doing a lot of people don't. I had a young cat who I know back at the crib. He said he ain't, you know he gonna shoot you because he can't fight. He told me straight up. He said I can't fight. He just told me straight up I can't fight, so I'm just gonna shoot you.
That
And
don't
I'm
even
like,
make
wow.
I
sense to
understand
me.
them.
No,
Hey, I'm too old to fight. Hey, I'm
Ivy,
too old
cut
to
it
And
fight.
out.
he wasn't old though. He was a young cat. He told me, he said, I can't fight, so I'm shooting. That's what he told me.
Well, he need to get some lessons. But at my age, I'm too
You
old to
can
be
get
fighting that.
lessons too, Ivy. Cut it out.
I
Yeah.
know how to fight, but I'm just saying I'm too old to be fighting. I'm gonna be sore for days. Like I'm not you. I'm putting a pistol in your face, and
Man,
you
let me
gonna
tell you something.
learn.
Let me tell you something. Now, I would rather a person throw them hands and pull a pistol. I ain't gonna lie to you. I
Right.
take
If you
it.
gonna get this ass whooping, you gonna
I
wake
mean,
up and see
I
another
take it
day.
anyway.
You
You know what
gonna
I'm saying? If I
heal
get
and you
one
gonna
on
be
Hey,
one,
I'm too
okay.
if
old.
they get the best of me, cool. Because you got to
As long
understand.
as you don't like stomp me to death. Like, come on, like, geez,
Because when
stop when you
you
see
pull
Cause
your
that,
pistol,
you know.
one thing I learned when you pull your pistol,
I
somebody
be wrong.
can pull theirs too.
Might as well, but I can't say this. If I end up having to fight you and I end up choking you out, you know the first thing you're gonna say, "Oh, you was wrong," or "You knew
Ain't now
better,"
they
or
ain't gonna say
"You was
wrong. They gonna
willing
say
to."
you handle your
Yeah, they
business.
are.
That's what
They're gonna be like, "You didn't have to.
there's no
You
rules.
didn't have to do that. You didn't have to choke
Fighting
them out
Well,
has
at a
because they
certain
rules.
lost
point, you need to
conscious."
release, right? We ain't trying to kill nobody, guys. That's the whole point.
Hey,
We're not trying to
that's
Right.
the
kill
thing.
nobody. At a certain point, you
I
gotta
don't.
stop.
Mm-mm.
You pull
Well,
Fighting
your
they
has
should.
weight.
rules. What your mama say? They
So
pick
this is
something hit them with it. What mama tell me?
You better
this
find
is what
something
I
to hit
tell
their ass with.
people. You cannot control other people's actions. You can only control yours. So it is best in your best interest to not come step to me because you don't know how I'm feeling that day. I might be ready to risk it all and let this PTSD win. So go ahead and go on about your business now.
Oh, we. And on that note, y'all, we're gonna move into this next topic of conversation. Before we go there, though, we gotta shout out our sponsors. All right. Evolution Growth Oil. You know, make sure this is not only for men, it's also for women. You know, we got to get at Miss Chanel Jackson, and you can get you a bottle of this. That's a very big bottle. It doesn't look very big, but that's a very big bottle. Evolution Growth Oil is a official sponsor of Optimistic Talk Radio. Also, one of our corporate sponsors, the Lashgasm Experience. You know, if you need your eyebrows, you know, all the little stuff that women. I'm probably not the right person to advertise this. I apologize to our sponsor over there at the Lashgasm Experience. But if you need any type of,
You gotta say it in your sexy voice.
Well, he
you
might
need
have
any
just
type
be
of.
talking, man. He ain't got.
Oh, you know what? It should be cute. Cute. Go ahead and
I can't.
advertise
I
it.
can't. I can't. I don't even know what to
Oh
say.
my God! But look,
You know what I'm saying?
Lashgasm Experience, y'all. You make sure you get it them, especially the ladies. And
Yeah,
last but not least, we have YLK Solutions, corporate sponsor. Shout out to Miss Kenesha Boyd. We love you. Had a battle with cancer, and you know she killed it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So the next topic of discussion is corporal punishment in schools a fair thing to keep around? Before y'all answer this, we have a video to watch, and you are tuned in to Optimistic Talk Radio. We will be right back.
Come in. Principal, Claudia Anderson received another dress code violation.
Then give her a week detention.
Well, her mother doesn't want her missing any more school, but she's given us permission for another form of punishment.
What kind of punishment?
Corporal punishment.
Is that still legal?
Oh, well, this is Texas, sir.
Give her licks and send her back to class.
Well, I can't do that. It has to be done by you.
Me?
State law requires that it's done by the school principal, which is you.
Do I have to?
The ruler's behind you on the desk.
Hi, Principal.
Claudia? I'm sure Miss Sherry explained to you why you're in here. And seeing that this is only your 7th offense, I think a day of detention should suffice.
Well, I don't want to miss any more class, so I'd rather take the paddle.
Okay. So, how many?
7.
Oh, and I skipped class today too.
10.
10.
Yeehaw!
I have to do this.
Stop wasting time and you smack that ass!
Can we please stop this video?
I swear, like,
Can we please stop this video? Can we please end
what
this
does that
video?
say? I turned 18. When? What does that say?
The young lady provided her phone number. Hey, I know this is a
Oh my
little different.
God.
We try to be
Very
a
much
little
so.
bit more informative when we show videos, so I wanted to try to do something different this time.
Oh my God.
So I'll go ahead and open up discussion for us. I believe in nowadays, we actually probably should have started with this topic. But I think if they implemented corporal punishment in schools like how we had it when I was young, we probably would have all the problems that we have today.
But also, okay, looking at that video, right?
Well, please
That
don't
what
talk
she
about
had
that video.
on
This
would
is video.
never fly when we was in school. What I see my niece wear to school, I'm like, how in the hell are you able to wear that to school, honey? Because we had to have the skirts past your last fingernail length, the last finger, when you had your hands to your side. Like, I wish you would wear some biker shorts to school or a midriff shirt. You not showing no belly. You don't have no spaghetti strap shirt on. And your skirt is longer than the length of your arm,
Yeah. 2 inches above your knee.
basically.
That was ours. Yeah. I listen. I personally when I think of corporal, stop putting your hands on kids. That's
Who's
not
putting their
for.
hands on kids? Tell them damn
I'm just
kids to
saying,
stop
like
putting their
people.
hands on teachers.
But I think this is the thing. I think that a lot of, and I'm going to say studies. I wish I could pull up these studies in some of my coursework, but I can say that there's a difference between punishing a child and beating on these kids. A lot of these kids in the
We
black
talk about in
community, we don't know
school. We
how
talk about
to.
in school. Ain't
Yeah,
nobody getting beat in school.
I just want to say
they don't
this.
need. They don't need. They don't need to bring that corporal punishment into the school. I didn't have corporal punishment in school. I think that was a Southern thing because in the Midwest, you wouldn't. Ain't nobody putting their hands on nobody, and you wasn't hitting on
Baby,
me. You wasn't
the
hitting.
principal was
Mm-mm,
definitely
mm-mm.
paddling kids when I was in school.
Oh yeah, I got a
That's
couple of weapons at
unfortunate because
school. I
That was
they
not
wasn't
unfortunate.
paddling. They
I just
That's
want to say.
unfortunate.
I
That's
just want
I
to.
unfortunate.
think it needs to be back in schools, to be honest with you, because these kids is out of
No.
control.
I just want to say, out of every video you ever found, how did you find that video? I just want to say this because where that video was coming, I thought it was going on
uh,
another direction. I'm like, I know darn well.
It definitely was going in that direction,
I thought it was too. So that's why I say, why did we
It was
I think
definitely
previously?
going in
she
that
was.
direction.
I
I
put
think
Really?
she was
disclaimer out there,
liking that
Q.
paddling.
Yeah,
I,
yeah. We.
I try to put disclaimer out there. You see, I was on top of it. I ain't even let y'all talk.
I'm
I tried
glad
to
you
go ahead and
did,
jump on
sir,
out
because
there.
that video was like we
But
going a
hold
whole
on,
other
back to the
direction.
topic, y'all, for real.
Okay, but
If we're
this
gonna
is my
bring
thing.
corporal punishment back to schools,
Okay,
parents
this
also
is my
need
thing.
to understand that they can discipline their own children. Don't be afraid that they're gonna call the police or CPS on you. Like, discipline your damn child. Get a switch or a belt or a flip flop, and that's the extent of it. Don't be punching them in the mouth and the chest. Don't be
No,
You
getting
can't
an
use a
extension
switch.
no.
cord.
You can't use a switch,
I had a
Holly.
switch. Ain't
You
nothing
only can
wrong
use
with
a
a switch.
belt in the butt. That's it.
Well, okay, a belt then. Get a belt, your hands.
First of all, I agree with her because first of all, how you gonna tell me how to discipline a child? See, the problem with let me tell you why these kids are really out of control.
You don't want to
I'm
go
Because
to
not
their
saying
jail,
parents
we,
ain't
sir.
disciplining
I'm
you.
not saying we were perfect. Don't get it twisted.
You don't want to go to jail. Trust me.
But let me tell you something. I'll go to
Well,
jail.
I gotta
I'm
go
gonna
to
rail
jail
right
because I
back
whooped
out.
my child.
I'm gonna rail right back out. I'm gonna put them hands right back on them. You have to
You,
understand something. The problem with society, they want to be these kids' friends, and you wonder why they disrespectful. You wonder why they act the way. I have a situation with a younger sibling of mine. My my little niece is just out of control. It just is what it is. But because she want to be so friendly and don't want to put them hands on them, you have to understand. You can spoil a child, but you got to spare the rod. The rod is the portion of punishment. That's the whole part. If you keep allowing these kids to be disrespectful, you have to understand they have to step outside of the normalcy of just a parent, of an aunt, or an uncle, or a cousin. They have to meet other people in society. They have to respect other adults. These kids don't respect adults. It goes back to earlier conversation about a gun. That's why my point of emphasis about not carrying it because it can escalate further than what it is. These people think that, oh, talking to them and these kids have, ADD and HPA5B and all these alphabet letters.
Baby, and where all that came from? Who knows? Because
You know
that's
what I'm
made
saying?
up.
All this all of a sudden now because these kids are so, man, these kids is faking with the shaking. All they want is attention to get to where they want to be and how they want it to be. Anytime you allow your child to go to school, I got children, so I know this for a fact. My son, I tell him all the time, that phone better not be out. It's all. But the problem is that the parents don't want to take the call until your child is wrong. They don't want to tell their child wrong. They say
Hold
everybody's
on,
wrong
kid.
with the
Hold
child.
on, kid. What is all that?
that's your alter ego, Q.
That ain't me.
This is hilarious. Are we like the Chipmunk, Alvin and the Chipmunks?
Okay, I guess it's under control. Oh, it's me. Hold on.
It's what I told. Sweetie Pie told you that you got to get the producer. I'm telling you, I got to do that.
Oh my gosh, is that me laughing?
Ooh, boy, I
All right, we have some technical difficulties with the audio. Let me see something. We'll be right. We'll be right back. Want to make sure. Okay, how about now, y'all? How does everything sound?
It
boy,
sounds good.
we back
Nope.
at it.
Okay. What we'll do, I'll give my opinion on this topic, and what I want y'all to do is just go out and come back in.
What's your opinion?
All right. So the way I feel about corporal punishment, and I want to just comment on what you said, Q, and I'm open your mic back up so you can talk. We got to figure out where that fee's coming from. But you know, when it comes to discipline now, and based on experience, I mean, what we do for a living, there is a way to discipline your child. Now, I do agree that all children need to be disciplined, but now that there's like a particular way, because if you discipline that child and you injure that child, and there's a mark or a bruise, I can almost guarantee that CPS will be in your life, and they will take your kid away from you. That's the way it is now. So, the proper procedure, on top of the clothes, on the butt. Now, you can use timeout, punishment. You can use those things. Now, it seems like what really hurt a kid more than anything when you punish them. I mean, if you take their phone away, that's way worse than any type of punishment, corporal punishment you can give them, because now, like, that takes their access away from the world. But I'm about to unmute you now, Q. All right, Q, we can hear you.
Let me say this here. Nobody care about taking no away from that. It ain't gonna do nothing. What you think they're gonna do? They're gonna be mad for 2 hours, fussing and turning all over. Let me tell you something. One thing I can honestly say about mine, I done had them type of problems. Because all this trying to be friendly fire, they kids and all this stuff. All of us come from a community growing up in a situation that was tough for all of us. All of us that have no ADD, that means all that's simply saying that child just not interested in certain subjects. That don't make them off or crazy. They just ain't interested in something such. I got a little cousin. He don't. They say he's not interested in math. He just don't like math. It just ain't his subject. But he loves art. They're interested in what interests them. And then all this, put them in a corner and put them like little pets and nah, man, you finna get these hands. You finna get your mind right.
All right, Holly, what you want to say about that, Holly?
That's Ivy. Ivy, what you want to say?
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm doing a sound check. That's the reason why I called your name. Hold on. I'm trying to see where that feed coming from. Okay, Ivy, can you hear us?
I can hear you. I was trying to figure out what happened. It sounded like little mouse. Is it me?
Okay, so how you feel about corporal punishment? We was all kind of talking about it. We was engaged in the conversation before we had we don't know if that's the ghost of Mo coming because y'all want to give her respect for her moment of silence.
Ghost of Mo.
Mo.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait for Mo to come back.
Personally, I guess I'm a different type of parent now. I went from I was all for whooping these kids' ass to getting a child out of who, being a foster parent and you can't put your hands on these kids. So you and in the midst of it, I also learned that I had past trauma of getting my ass beat. And I couldn't just be hitting on these kids when I was angry. I think a lot of parents need to learn their emotions and their left and right limits on when and how they should spank their child. My personal opinion, not all kids need to be whooped on, beat on, spanked. Sometimes they do just need to be talked to and like, listen, I understand you pissed off or whatever you doing wrong, but let me explain to you instead of just saying because I said so. I said don't do that because I said so when you turn around doing the same thing, because now these motherfuckers confused because they see you doing the exact same thing you told them not to do. Instead, you need to explain to them why they shouldn't or should do something.
Well, here's the kicker, darling. Here's the kicker, darling. I'm
Mm-hmm.
an adult.
Before you start, because you be long-winded. Before you start.
I'm gonna give you the facts. Y'all scared to talk. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
I ain't scared. I'm just saying.
The adult. They is the child. Just because you see me do something,
else,
and you're not allowed. It's like
that mentality of do as I say and not as I do. What's good for me might not be good for you. Just did not work for our generation. As you can see, it just did not work for our generation because we did the most sneaking. We did the most and honestly, I don't know how old y'all are, but it sounds like around this generation of 40 and under, they raised some hellish ass kids around here. So it looked like the shit didn't work too well.
Well,
It,
because
it didn't work, but these kids doing the same thing we did. Nothing is new, right?
exactly.
And all kids do need a whooping, okay? Just not all the time. I do agree with talking to kids on certain occasions or with certain situations and having teachable moments, but I do sometimes think you need to get your ass whooped because we done talked about this how many times?
Exactly.
Or whatever the case may be. Like, you know better. So bring, like, you're gonna get a whooping. Like, it is what it is. You not finna just not get something. You talking smart to me? I wish you would.
But see,
See, for
y'all got we got
my type of corporal punishment was, all right, we about to go for a run. We about to run these hills. You
Yeah,
want to do
we,
some
we got
push
off.
ups.
We,
You
we
about
we digress.
to
We got on to parenting, right? But
oh
corporal
yeah, we
punishment in schools, I don't know how we did that. Corporal punishment in schools, yes, we do need it. We do.
I agree.
Because really and truly, what do we have to like punish these kids with? Like,
Nothing.
it's
Half these kids athletes, they get in shape, they in better shape than us. Reason why we are the way we raise and sell our kids is the fact that we're like this because of one reason. We giving
no
our kids
cute,
things that
cute.
we
Corporal
hey,
punishment. Go back to schools, basically.
that's why we
On
saw
track.
chaos. Because let me give you an example.
Is it
We're
about
raising
corporal
kids
punishment?
like this is because
No,
we
it ain't.
spoil them. But when they get in trouble, we bypass things. We bypass a lot of things. And then when they go to school talking crazy to the teacher, all of a sudden now we jump on the teacher as if the child is just always innocent. And the children will prey on that because they feel, well, my mom and dad are gonna take up for me anyway because they said you shouldn't do blase blase.
and
But
see,
let's take all that away, right?
I never take up for the child. I'm always gonna side with. I'm not saying I'm gonna always side with teacher, but 9 times out of 10, I know that the teacher probably, if they call me, it's because they sick of. At that point, they call me, they sick of my child or my niece or whatever the case may be. By the time they call me, because
Yeah.
I know my children. But when it comes to corporal punishment, I don't think that anyone should be putting their hands on other people's
It's not
children.
all about what if I'm not putting my hands on your child? What if I have your child giving me push ups?
That's fine. Wall sits,
That's
run
corporal
a lap.
punishment though, but that's corporal punishment.
Well, that's fine then. But when I
What
think of
if I
corporal
have them
punishment,
on a wall doing squats during recess?
fine too.
Recess.
When I think
So
of
they
corporal
consider that corporal
punishment,
punishment.
okay, I guess I have it wrong with, because when I think of corporal punishment, I think of you physically putting your hands on or
No.
paddle or something like that. Like I said,
Also paddling too. There's different there's
we
different
didn't
Right,
have
levels of
that.
it.
right,
In the
right.
Different
Midwest, we
levels.
didn't have that. We was running laps. We were running. We were doing all
And that's
that.
considered corporal punishment. You can't do that
Right,
now.
right. It surely is. And also, Avi, with along with what Holly's saying too. I mean, you have to actually sign off on it before it happens. So they can't go to school and just get spanked. It's
Well,
really
back
in the
then, I don't think my parents signed off on any of that. Did y'all?
yeah.
No,
Well, I know
we just got our issue.
well, yeah, I
Well,
know
I
with
was a
mine.
model
I know
student, so I never really was afraid of that.
well,
So,
definitely with
but
my
I don't know.
oldest. My oldest, I had to go to school and actually sign. I mean, my oldest was off the chain, so they asked me and I signed off on it. I was like, yes,
How old is
y'all
your
can save me
oldest
some
to
time.
be? How old is your oldest?
He's 20 now, but I mean, when he was in elementary school,
They were still whooping ass 20 years ago. Like I listen,
oh yeah,
I'm baffled.
well, it was probably less than 20. It was like he was maybe 8 years old. So my son was off the chain. So I mean, they even called me. I had to come check my son out of school to discipline my child and take him back to school. And at that time, we are telling a lot right now. Q was my roommate. I had to check my son out of school, bring him home, discipline him. You can take that how you want to, and take him back to school. Like it
Honey, I
was.
would have told you, here go to the men's restroom. You want to take them in there? Here, here's my key. You can. Oh, you want to go to my office? Go ahead. I
Oh
don't. You can do it on campus if you want to. For me,
yeah.
Well,
because
yeah,
there's
I
nothing
remember
else
that.
that
I
we
remember
can
that.
do. Even as administrators, there's nothing I can take from you or do to you that's gonna affect. The only thing I can do is talk. So here now, I've become a counselor. I'm not only just an educator. I'm also a counselor. Then that goes into why I ain't getting paid enough because I'm everything for these kids. I
Yeah,
have to
you
provide the
babysitter.
mental, the
Yeah.
social, the emotional. well-being of the child. I got to make sure they learning. I got to do everything. God damn. But then at home, you getting talked to crazy, and your mama want to come talk to me crazy, and that's why you talking to me crazy, because your mama talk crazy, or your daddy talk crazy, or whoever you live with talk crazy. So educators lose all the way around.
I agree on
We
that.
just lose.
I really do. I do. I really do. And I feel bad.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that because I had a child that was terrorizing Caddo Parish to smithereens. So hey,
And there ain't nothing you can do. You can refer them to DA
listen.
for a couple of weeks, and then he gonna come on right on back over there with you.
The state even was like, I don't know what to tell y'all.
Exactly. We
So
gotta just deal with it.
yeah, it's just one of those things, and like I said, because she was a child within the system, you couldn't just put your hands on that particular child. You have to do all the think pieces, the conversations, the talks, the therapy, the counseling, the
Yeah.
admissions,
So
all
much
of
Did
talking.
all
Just
did all that
talk,
work?
talk, 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 talk.
Did all that work?
Talk.
And when she was solely with me, yeah. But once they're back into that toxic environment, no, you can't try to fix somebody and then put them back in the same place they was
Right.
traumatized at.
Because if you didn't fix that
So
problem, then everything
right,
is gonna go back to what it was. You're gonna have to fix
right.
the whole
So
thing, not just that
right.
one slice.
So
So
I guess with
and
corporal
that.
punishment. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I say
Oh
bring
no,
it
go
back.
ahead.
I was gonna say I guess with corporal punishment, it seems like we're split.
Mm.
I didn't get. I think Q was on. Do you believe corporal punishment is a fair thing to keep in schools?
I mean, well, y'all know I like putting hands on kids. That's my thing. I don't care what you're talking about. I
Yanking
coach
him up by the
football,
shirt. Do you
but
agree, Ivy? If I yank him up by the shirt, is that too much for you?
That's too much. That's too much for me.
Why is that too much?
That's too
my
much for
thing on the
me.
situation
What
is
if I tell you like 5 times to sit down or stop doing that or no, stop pushing that kid? And so now I got to yank you up because you think I'm playing with you.
Mm-mm.
Because I done told you
that
five
goes back to
times
what I said.
Now
already.
I can't I can't say this. You yank up the right child, they gonna yank your ass right back. So
Girl, I wish your kid would.
I,
Not in elementary. I wish you would.
this is
That's
my
why I ain't
thing.
gone
This is
to
my
high
thing.
school.
Now I do believe what Sweetie Pie said about running because Will, when we played football, we got in trouble. We had to run.
Exactly. It's okay for coaches
So,
to talk crazy to kids.
well, it's different from us because we athletes. Y'all we get cussed
It
out
don't
way
matter.
worse than y'all.
What does that
Oh yeah, it
mean?
does. It's different between us being athletes versus being a student. The difference is,
And you in
let me
elementary,
tell you,
and
and
you're an
it's
athlete in the elementary getting cussed out?
because I remember my senior year, I got cussed out in front of the whole football stadium in a game.
As you
But
should
I
have.
understood why,
Messed it up.
at the time, because you got to think these coaches,
Holly.
we did it with men. We did it with men. You know what I'm saying? Men
Explain getting
don't.
cussed out. Like how was you getting like what was he saying? What was
Get your
coach
ass
saying
in
to
this
you?
motherfucker game.
What happened was he wouldn't laugh. What happened was I had a holding call on a big run. I did it twice because I was tired. I'm playing both ways.
I mean, do you know what that means?
And
A
what happened was
holding
I grabbed a
call.
man, but a man run the ball. I didn't see him behind me. Anyway, my coach, D was the Ted. Well, I mean,
He
Shay
was
did.
holding
He's
on
God,
both sides.
what I'm gonna say what he said, but we're used to it because we got old school
What did he
coaches.
say?
I can't say the words that
He
he
used the A
used, but
word.
That, that's what she's
he
trying to
just
get
went
out of
off.
you, Q. She want to know like details.
It just know that the words he used wasn't
Was
great.
he was he
We-
cursing or was he cussing you out?
he was cursing, but he was cursing at me like,
So
doggone,
he was just cursing.
what you
He
doing?
was just
He going
cursing.
off. You know what I'm
Because
But that's
saying?
different.
if I tell a child now in some instances I would say, hey, that's enough, that's sit down. Sometimes with these kids, you gotta sit your motherfucking ass down.
Because
You
that's
have
all
to
they
like,
understand.
yeah,
You
they
have to like
it's like a
brainwash them.
See
universal,
that's
yeah, it's
why
like a
that's why I
universal
say
language.
it's different from teaching than coaching because teachers can't say what our coach used. Anybody who plays
No,
sports
they can't.
who had a coach, they will tell you, man. They used to tell us. I mean, I hate to say it like this, but I'm gonna tell you. I had a high school offensive coordinator. Anybody that went to school know. He told one of our teammates one time. He said, "Boy, your mama should have swallowed."
What?
Oh man,
Oh
I
my
can't make
God.
this stuff up.
What? How old
They didn't know
were
I ain't
y'all?
lying. Shade him, I'm lying.
Yeah, I mean, you got to like you said, you got to think about the aspect. A lot of our coaches actually scared us too, in a sense. It's like almost like having a dad in
Yeah,
school.
But that's
Yeah,
how it should be. You respected them. You did what they told you to do, and you ain't give them no lip.
Now
Why
they
can't
wasn't
we have
calling
that same
y'all.
respect?
They wasn't calling y'all out your name. They were just like talking shit. Like,
I don't know. We've been called out our names, all of the above. Anything you can think of,
yeah,
probably
no,
happened.
No, I
yeah.
don't really agree with that.
I don't like that either.
I
I,
don't
I
I
don't
agree
have,
with
like
but
that.
that.
you gotta understand, we
Mm-mm.
men. Men ain't gonna say stuff like I had a coach tell me. He
Okay,
told me, he said, James, you playing softer than a penis. That's what he told me.
that's
But
different.
that's men talk. That's men talk.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
It goes
different.
back.
us women
I can
got
go with
our own
that.
talk.
That's an analogy
Yeah, that's y'all business.
that you could relate to.
That's what
Oh
he
my
told
He
me.
was
Yeah,
God.
He
making it
said, James, you playing
relatable.
softer than a
He
penis.
was
That's what
making
he
it
told me. That's what
relatable.
he
yeah, that's y'all business.
That's why I say it's different from teaching than coaching because, like, I've been on aspect of coaching. I have told one kid, I said, "What? I just don't understand. What was going on in the sack? You know, we talk like that because we try. You know, we find the motivation. A teacher cannot tell a student that. You know what I mean? They have to choose their words. You know, very choicely because kids want to tell any half. I know my daughter did one time. Told me the story. Didn't even tell me the whole story. Told me the story opposite of what actually happened.
Of course, because kids don't get nothing right and they lie.
And
Period.
so that's why I'm saying, like, coaches, they just say stuff to us. You know, we laugh it off, and some stuff be funny. You know, I've had a coach call one of my teammates a moron. It'd be
Mm.
funny to us. It's funny to us. You know, that's why I say teaching and coaching two different aspects. Of course, we can
Well,
get a
that's
no respect.
because he's calling you a moron based on your athletic ability,
No, he
right?
called him a moron because
So,
he couldn't think. I
His
mean,
mentality, his
his
mental. It's not his
mentality was
physical. He's talking about his
moronic. You have
mental.
to understand that's why I say when you play sports, and that's why we as football players or basketball players, athletes, we laugh at this stuff because we look back and we laugh at things because we remember these situations, you know. And that's like when you work on the corporal punishment about, you know, running exercise, it don't bother us because we do that anyway. Maybe to a normal kid who's not athletic, it may be a problem, but for us, we ain't really tripping. Man, we could do a
No,
thought.
I mean, even when I had like trainings with the military, I was saying the saying you can't smoke a rock. Like, I still don't want to be smoked. Like, like I don't care how physical strong I am. I don't want to be smoked. I don't want to do shit extra. So I think that it's great punishment to make these kids do a little running. Honestly, these kids be overweight anyway. They can stand and do a couple damn laps.
okay, because all
Sure.
these Takis and all they eat at lunchtime is junk food. And then
Right.
y'all know
No
what they do with the
food.
food? Let me tell y'all what to do with the food that they parents packed lightly, made, and spent $800 at the grocery store on. They dump that shit in the trash without even touching it. And I'm like, oh, no. And I'm over there
Sandwiches.
like, do you know how much groceries cost these days? You over there throwing these
Mm-hmm.
grapes away? You don't want the grapes? Give them to me.
Oh my
It's
Like
God.
hard.
you haven't even
It's
touched the
hard.
grapes
It's
and
hard.
this sandwich. You gonna just take the whole Ziploc bag and throw it in the trash? Please save your food for later. Eat it on the bus. Eat it on your walk home. Don't
This
throw
has
the
been
food
an
away. These
awesome
kids is
show.
horrible.
This has been an awesome show. I'm sorry we have to get ready to close out this session.
No.
Ivy, you have to come back. You have to come back with us, Ivy. You have to come back and be a regular on this show with us whenever that
Mo
opportunity
gonna
presents
cut
itself.
Shy out. She'll like, so y'all replace me with Ivy. Who the hell is
No, no,
We
don't,
Ivy?
don't,
will
don't, don't
never
say no
replace
y'all.
you.
Y'all ain't got nothing to
Y'all
do with
kind
that
of sound.
conversation.
Y'all have the same tone of voice.
See, yeah, so you heard it, obviously. I tried to give her a moment of silence. Moment of silence.
We
You see
don't need a
my
moment
cohorts
of
did.
silence for Mo.
That's a little extreme for the moment of silence.
Hey man, you gotta show respect. She's down and out. You know what I'm saying? She's doing her thing. She gonna be back. You know, I'm just, that's my girl,
Yeah, that was a safe.
Hey, y'all have been tuned into Optimistic Talk Radio. We will be back next Monday, and I am sending a formal invitation out to Ivy. We got to get her back on, and I'm gonna talk to the crew because sometimes the crew we out, so we got to have another rotation if somebody out and missing. So we trying to make sure we have our other special guest hosts coming in, and we want to keep this thing moving. Once again, like I really appreciate you, Ivy, for coming on the show. As
Thank you,
always, Holly
Ivy.
and that
Thank
guy
you for
Q.
having me.
Q is that guy. This has been Optimistic Talk Radio. We go holla.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Q, who you going for in the game?
Nobody.
Who your